somewhere around. Thank you.
Sure.
How are things in Iowa, Dale?
Pretty good. Getting more spring-like.
Here too.
It sure beats what it was a week or so ago.
Yeah, I bet.
It's in this little pond, park pond here was people were ice fishing on it one week, and then and the next week they were fishing with boats.
Wow.
Went pretty quickly, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's still freezing at night, but in the daytime it's warmed up.
Sounds similar to here then.
So Steve, ready to get in the fields?
Oh, well, he's working on it. He's been over in the shop working on the planter and, you know, this, that, and the next thing. So, yeah, I think he's beginning to get the usual itchy feet that come about this time of year. He's going to hop on here in a minute and can answer you himself. But from what I've seen, the answer would be yes. He's working on that.
Oh, a big John
Pretty
Deere
wet.
going down our road pulling a disc. So I don't. It was headed east, so I don't know where it was going.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know either. It's pretty
They're
wet to
going
do
west.
anything in the field yet. All you do right now would be make mud.
What's your hat today, Steve?
Co-op.
Oh, okay. Hi, Sue. Hi, Dan.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good to see you all.
Hey, Sue.
Yes, I agree. It is good.
That's right there.
Sue, I sent you your new check order. May take a few days to get there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I received the AT&T bill, so thanks for that.
Okay, you're welcome.
What's new on the Burger Estate?
Well, let's see. Kristen's back in town, and that all went well a week ago. And the eastern bluebirds are back. I keep contemplating how soon to get in the garden, but it's about ankle deep in mud from all the rain we had. Chris and I spent some time yesterday picking up sticks just so we could have a fire. Burnt sticks all yesterday afternoon.
Gee, if I'd have known, I would have added to your pile.
Donated some sticks.
Absolutely.
We have a
Well,
pile.
it's too windy around here to be burning anything.
Well, I
We
was
have
a little
sticks
leery
usually.
about the cardboard box I was using to start it with, but everything around here is so wet that I figured any kind of fly ash wasn't gonna start any fires.
We haven't been that wet since the snow went off, really. We're supposed to get rain the next couple of days.
Morning, Chris. Morning, Chip.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Insulation's on the wall.
Yay.
Hey,
So what room are you working on now, Chip?
They're working on the living room. And I'm in the kitchen.
Was that princess that just walked by your camera, Sue?
Yes. That's There's her tail.
Somebody probably ought to do a book, The Cats of The Cats of Zoom.
Right.
Mhm.
I have a friend, I Zoom with occasionally, and the cat is always right there laying on the microphone of the laptop purring. It's like, or snoring. It's like,
Miss Taylor would be in here if she ever figured out that she could jump over the little piece of wood I have up to keep her in the other part of the house. She doesn't know that she can jump over it.
Brent, was that a bandage I saw or just a sunspot?
yeah. We're repairing the rental after
Yes.
the folks destroyed it. And I was hooking up a drain in the basement. And it was running slow, so I poured some drain cleaner down it and started leaking. And stupidly, I reached down to tighten the nut and it broke and went all over my hand.
Ooh.
Ah, ouch.
Burned it pretty good. So, yeah, genius.
And that's your dominant hand, right?
Yes. Yeah, so I can't do anything now. I just lay around.
Lay around and eat bonbons, right?
I can't wash my hair with my left hand. Yes,
So this is going to be like a 6-month bandage.
not.
Morning, everyone.
Can't tell.
Morning, Chantal.
Morning, Chantal.
Good morning, everyone.
When we went to New Zealand, there was a story about the school system, and when the British Empire came there to start schools, they couldn't determine how old any of the kids were because there was no such thing as birth records and so forth. And so the test was they had to put their hand over the top of their head and touch their other ear. And if they could touch their opposite ear, then they're old enough to go to school. And your reach over the head just reminded me of that story.
Well, I guess I'm old enough to go to school.
That's right.
Should have gone to keep the rubber gloves on school.
Yeah.
So is anybody having feedback yet?
Now, we were earlier. Sounded like Yankee Stadium with the echo.
Let me know. I had researched it and it might be electronics next to my computer.
Hey, Dave Mills.
Morning, everybody.
Morning, David.
Morning.
Love your hat, Steve.
Co-op, co-op, Pat,
Go up, you said?
co-op, yes.
All
It's
right.
actually a collector's item.
I was just going to say, what bracket are they playing in?
Glad to see you're feeling better, Steve.
Thank you. I am feeling much better. Got a ways to go, but headed in the right direction.
You're going to be out the first day of harvest this year? I mean, of planting?
I certainly hope so. Maybe after an hour, I'll have to come home, but at least I'll be there.
You got to get them started.
That's right. I find that when I say things, they just kind of roll their eyes and go ahead and do what they were doing before I got there.
I guess that's a sign of respect. At least they don't slap you.
Oh, you need on.
As I recall, that's kind of what we used to do with your dad in junior. So you graduated to your dad's category.
Mhm.
My grandfather did the opposite. He always wore hearing aids that were attached to his glasses. When he got tired of hearing us and our advice to him, you could tell because he'd smile and nod, but the hearing aids would be hanging loose behind his ears. Boys are talking again. We're done.
Hi, Christy.
Hi, Christy.
Morning,
Christy.
everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
You might all be interested to know that yesterday when I stopped by the church to get the mail, Canby Tabernacle was there in force, working in the flower beds in the yard, cleaning and raking and all that yesterday. So nice to see that they're invested, you know, in how our building looks and grounds look.
Yeah,
Morning, Sylvia and Dan.
I got a text from Neil that they were doing a cleanup day. So
Wonderful.
That's Chantal's chair.
Morning, Sylvia and Dean. Hi,
Good
Norma.
morning, Sue. We are in Michigan today. Hi, guys. This is Maria.
Where are you?
Maria and Jay's house in Michigan.
Oh, okay. I haven't been to Michigan yet.
What'd you say, Sue?
I haven't been to Michigan yet,
Oh, ever?
ever.
You've never been to Michigan? Oh,
I haven't either.
well. Huh. It's a state next door.
vacation in
Haven't been there.
Ludington, Michigan in the summer. The few vacations we took as a
Maybe you should
kid
come-
where the
you
big
come up to
ferries
Holland.
came across.
Tulips. Yeah. Come up to Holland, Michigan in the tulip season.
I'm gonna close the video today. Sorry, because the phone might ring again. My mother is in the hospital and my father calls sometimes to give me news. So I might have to stand up and I don't want to be impolite. So I might just shut down the video for that.
Well, I hope your mother gets better.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. She will. She's a tough.
well, good. Yeah.
Where do they live, Chantel?
Hmm?
Where do they live?
My
Your mother and
parents,
father.
oh, they're
Uh-huh.
15 minutes from here. Yeah,
Okay. That's
yeah.
nice. Nice to see you, Christy.
Well, as it's about time to start, just as by way of announcement, next Sunday will be our last all Zoom meeting for a while, we think. We'll see how the pandemic stuff goes. On Easter Sunday, we will start meeting at the meeting house again for those who feel comfortable doing that. We'll also be doing Zoom, and we will follow the same format, sort of, that we've been following the last few months. We'll have the first half hour as unprogrammed. We won't be doing congregational singing or anything at this point. We'll have to keep testing that when it's right to do. And then the second half hour will, at 10 o'clock, will be unprogrammed. And folks will be invited to come for both portions or just the portion that they wish to attend. And we'll call it the no guilt attendance policy. If you want to just attend program worship, that's fine. If you want to attend unprogrammed, that's fine. If you want to attend both, there'll be more stars in your crown. I mean, as the old gospel hymn used to say, will there be any stars in my crown? Are there any joys or concerns to share before Dan is our worship leader this morning and he'll speak out of the silence, but are there joys or concerns to share before we settle in?
I have one. Please keep my cousin Glendora Mize. She's one of my mother's family cousins, and her husband just passed recently. He had dementia for many years and was not that old, but anyway, he had dementia, and he just passed. And she was such a wonderful caregiver for all those years and kept him at home and lovingly took care of him, and such a model for care of a loved one. So that's Glendora.
I have a joy. This week, Troy, Brandon, and Drake and I got to go see Grandma Artie for her 100th birthday.
Oh.
My brother sent a picture of he and my mother in her apartment. They've opened visitation at the facility where she lives to those that have had both of their COVID shots. And you can visit in their apartments, but they're still not doing group lunches or anything like that. But it was nice to see that she had somebody in her apartment besides her.
Shall we put ourselves on mute and then Dan will speak out of the silence as led.
Oh. Wow, my chair squeaks. Happy spring. It's been the first day of spring yesterday. Evidence of the changing seasons just abounds at my property. I've heard the sandhill crane's unique rattling call as the high altitude flyers went north. There have been robins in the yard, and I've heard the eastern bluebirds talking to one another. They may have been speaking of the unclean condition of the housing I provide, as it slipped my to-do list to clean out last year's furnishings. I saw yesterday some flying insects, so the bug eaters should be arriving soon. The Phoebe will have some significant repair to do to the mud and moss nest above the garage light. She's used it for 5 years or so. The mud nests in the barn rafters will again be occupied by the swallows. I hope. They're nice mosquito eaters. The daffodils are coming to blossom, and the star-shaped blooming face down flowers, whose names escape me, are in their glory as well. And nosing in everywhere are the dandelions. Mom would make my dad a batch of wilted dandelion green salad every spring. I think this may have been his way of making a statement. I can't be rid of all of you, so I'll just eat a few. The horseradish is greening up. The rhubarb buds are emerging. There are earthworms above ground, driven out by the snow melt and the ample soaking rain of late. It's the end of the tapping period for the sugar maple trees. To think of it too hard may seem mean to steal some of the tree's liquid when it's refilling to be ready for bud break and leaf growth to complete its living cycle. But my goodness, the tree's goodness is so good. The silver maple tree leaf buds are ready to split and let out this year's leaves. The oak and sycamore are not far behind, and the black walnut will trail along last. It's a great fascination for me to watch this earth tilt progression. The lengthening of daylight, the rise of the sun arc. It's a grand spring thing when the leaves are just big enough that the trees begin to cast leaf shadows and make shade. It takes a light source to make shade. When the summer sun becomes intense, a cool, shady spot under a leafy tree is certainly a welcome respite. In my backyard, there is a building that has a roof line oriented exactly east and west, or nearly so, as the earth tilts so that the northern hemisphere sinks southerly. The shadow cast on the north side of the building becomes shorter in relationship to the north wall. I've used this measure to determine the edge of the garden that's laid out parallel to the building. If the shadow still overhangs the garden's edge, it's too soon to set out the tomatoes. Since Indiana is well above the Tropic of Cancer, the sun doesn't ever reach a spot directly overhead. The roof overhang shade, even on the summer solstice, is wide enough to rest in when bean picking has become over. This north side shade phenomenon, every kid knows or should know that moss grows on the north side of trees out of direct sunlight. It was lost on the Hendricks County road manager when he directed that all trees along Miles Road be cut back so that the fresh pavement would stay sunny and dry and last longer. My 4 walnut trees along an east-west section of the road were stripped of branches on the north side. Because of the sun, tree, and road juxtaposition, the road will still remain shaded profusely where they were cut. The trees being needlessly mangled chafes me still. Brent's message of 2 weeks ago was to let go of such affronts and disagreeables. I might get there yet. Back to the shadows. It takes a light source and an object light cannot penetrate to make a shadow. From the Gospel according to John, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was nothing made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. There was a man sent from God whose name was John. He came for testimony, to bear witness to the light, might believe through him. He was not the light, but the true light that enlightens every man was coming in. He was in the world, and the world was made through him, but the world knew him not. The true light that enlightens every man was coming into the world. So the light has been here. Do we still know it and still see it? How do I know? I believe the light shines in my soul. I believe the light shines from the goodness and kindness and Christian faith of others. I believe the light shines on the little solar panel, if you will, that warms and spins my soul. And my spinning soul generates the light that others may be warmed and enlightened and encouraged to their best possible goodness. Well, that's my. What is there in my soul that is not transparent? Or maybe opaque? What is in my soul that will not let the light shine through? Are there blotches that will cast a shadow? Does my soul throw shade? If you're not up on your urban slang, throwing shade means to criticize or express contempt. I believe such use puts shade, but not as bad as that pun. Heavenly, Holy Father, help me my soul, so that it is transparent to your light, that all may see your light as the elements of your boundless love through me. Amen.
As we come to the close of our time, are there thoughts that friends would like to share before we say goodbye?
Wonderful to see everybody again. It always is. And the best to you and your mother, Chantal.
Oh, thank you. I won't be able to attend the young program for that reason. So I must leave. So I'm gonna wish you all a really good Sunday and a blessed week and a happy spring.
We'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Take care all and have a blessed week.